everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Today is episode 56, man. It's crazy how far we have come this year. So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about gratitude. One of those things that it's important when you are pursuing success, not just when you're pursuing success, but like every day, man. That's something that most often we take for granted. So, today episode, we're just going to talk about gratitude, things that we are grateful for, and all that. So, I just want to start question for you guys. What are some things that you guys are grateful for this year? A couple of things you guys want to share. Let's do two things. Two things that every one of us are grateful for this year.
Hmm.
Mm.
Start us off, Z.
I
Two
knew he was gonna say that. I
Still
knew.
two
I
thinking.
knew.
things. Two things that you're grateful
I'm
for
still
this
thinking.
year,
I'm
Z.
still, I'm still thinking, man. Letting it marinate. It's so many things.
Well, before I
Just
do get
pick two.
into it,
Pick two. Right.
before I do get into it, I want to kick it off with a quote. Right? I know we were talking about it earlier, but gratitude turns what we have into enough, and that is a very powerful quote to me because at the end of the day, I think we people like ourselves can always get so caught up in what's next. Right? It's hard when you're pursuing greatness and pursuing your purpose and trying just trying at the end of the day. You're just there's so much that you're doing and so much to process. But when you take a step back, there's just so much to be grateful for, and just realizing that you do have enough. Of course, there's always an opportunity for more, but just recognizing the people around you, the things around you, the blessings, counting them, and just understanding that it's enough. So I did just want to kick us off with that. That being said, I do have a lot to be grateful for this particular year. I think one of the big things that I'm grateful for is moving to New York. I know that
Oh,
was
that's big.
that's it's been honestly, man, life altering. I think to what my life was like in Dallas compared to now, and it's like a complete 180
Right.
of where I was at, and not necessarily to say that my chapter in Dallas was good or bad. It's just it was different, right? And I think being where I'm at now and the people that I'm surrounded by, especially out here in New York, man, I was fortunate enough to be catapulted uh, into this group of amazing people, and not just catapulted into it, but embraced by those people too.
Right.
I think that's also another thing is um, typically what I would say is a friend of a friend is a friend, of course, but the way that people have embraced me here in New York and just the opportunities that I've been presented with, and only that's only continuing to grow, right? And continuing to manifest every day. So I think that's a huge thing for me. Is I will tell anyone that New York is not easy by any means.
Right.
We all know that it's costly, and uh, that it can make or break most people, right? Anyone, right?
Facts.
It's
Facts.
going to make or break you, but it brings out different sides of you and things that you learn about yourself that you never could have encountered otherwise. And that's why I think New York is so unique. So I do think that's one of the big things. Even though I did technically move last year, but like I didn't move until like mid-November. So I think was this was the first year I actually got to genuinely experience New York.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I can now start to get into that mindset of saying I'm a New Yorker. I still haven't officially reached that threshold quite yet, but I'm getting closer. I'm a little bit closer to saying I'm a New Yorker. Not native New Yorker, but like I think what they typically say is you got to be here for at least 10 years before you can say you're like a New Yorker. But I'm like, look, man,
You embrace
one
the lifestyle and
one
everything.
down, man. I got 9 more to go, and then maybe I'll be
Right.
a New Yorker. But we'll
You,
see. We'll see. So
you not staying. You know you're not staying in New York for 10 years, bro.
you're right. You probably right. You probably right. But I'm enjoying this chapter for what it is, man, and I'm extremely
Okay.
grateful for being here and the people around me, the opportunities, everything, man. New York is amazing, so I will say that. The second thing that I'm grateful for, man, this year in particular, um, I think I'm also really grateful for this podcast. I say that's something else that I'm also really grateful for.
For sure.
I think Manifest Mondays has being that we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary, a couple of weeks ago. this was something that it was really just an idea, right? And to have seen what it manifested into. And I think of all the various parts of my life that have been so like, I don't want to necessarily say chaotic, but they've been so inconsistent. I think the one thing that I have been able to lean into that has been consistent in my life is Manifest Mondays. And, I know we talk about it all the time. I actually genuinely look forward to Mondays now, because of this reason, right? Setting aside this time and connecting and sharing our insights and gems and just learning in the process, giving the voice to people around us, and even people that we don't know that well, but like that we admire.
Right.
Uh, it's sharing space with the people that you value and voices that you value, and honestly, it's been invaluable in that regard, that I just have really enjoyed how much it's brought into my life, into our lives, I'm sure, but also it's made me such a better person, a better speaker. Like, there's so many things that
Right.
I've enhanced in my life because of this podcast, right? I think when I have moments to just share space and share words with people, I feel like I convey my messages a lot better now because of this podcast. And so, yeah, I think those are the two big things that I'm grateful for: moving to New York and Manifest Mondays.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great ones, bro. That's great ones, bro. Heavy on the podcast too, man. Now, like, there's a lot of dope things that came from even from like the conversations we've been able to have, and like you said, it always resets the week, right? Like
Right.
it kicks the week off, right? It
Mhm.
resets it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
that's dope. So without echoing it, for sure. Um, thing I'm grateful for this year is like 100% is reaching the goal for my sister's scholarship, man. I think
Yep.
that meant so much to me to really appreciate y'all brothers, man. But it meant so much to me really to create that in Tiana's name, man, and just to create a way that her name would live forever.
Hmm.
It meant a lot to me and the family, and everybody showed up in a major way. We had 5 years to hit the goal, and we hit it in 3. And
That's
Yep.
that
amazing.
go, and from now on, that scholarship will be paying out every year for as long as UNC's a school, man. So that to me, for sure, is one of the most things that I'm grateful for. That's the thing that we created as a family, and I kind of spearheaded just to make sure that that we were going to hit that goal with no matter what, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it just I really found purpose in it at that point, man. So
Yep.
that's one thing that I'm really grateful for sure. And then my second one is kind of like it'll seem like a cop out, but because it's such a blanket statement, but just the relationships that I have in my life right now,
Hmm.
bro.
Right.
I'm super super grateful for that, man. It's like I'm grateful that like almost everywhere I go, if there's people that I know there, it's love there.
Right.
I can go back to Denver and it's like that. I go to New York, mess with Z, it's like that. I could go in Arizona, it's like that. In Italy now, in Rwanda, like in
Right.
Vienna. I'm super. As you get older, you don't realize that you're making the relationships in real time. But that's something I'm super super grateful for. It's like wherever I go, for some reason, those people with good energy just find me or I find them or whatever that
Right.
exchange is.
Yep.
But I'm super grateful that wherever I go, I'm just like accepted like that. You know what I mean? And it's not like you do anything to be accepted, but when you're your natural self
Hmm.
and it's just,
Right.
that it's like accepted, that it makes it feel a little bit better, man. So that's one thing that I'm super, super, super grateful for right now, man. The relationships in my life is I wouldn't trade it for like like there's not a really amount of money that I could just trade it for. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
Right.
I mean that
Right.
too.
I love it, man. If I'm
Nice.
gonna sit here and count my blessings and things I'm grateful for, we're gonna be here for days. So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
summarize and just I'm just
Absolutely.
gonna like I'm just gonna like list two things I'm grateful for. Number one will be my health. Earlier this year in
Hmm.
May, I had surgery because I tore my meniscus, and like I had to go through the whole process, like surgery, rehab, and just to be able to like fast forward like 5 months, 6 months later, and now I'm not quite back to 100% yet, but the fact that I'm able to like work and like do the things that I want to do and getting my health back, I'm really
Hmm.
grateful for that because like health is one of those things that we don't really know how important it is. And when you don't, and the things I used to do before, you can't even do those basic things in life, like just going for a walk and not being in pain, man. You
Yeah.
realize that, bro, man. Like we have so much things to be grateful for each day, but apparently nowadays we're so busy with a lot of things in our lives, so we ignore the little things that we should be grateful for. So for sure, health is number one. I'm grateful for my
Hmm.
health and life. And like Ramon said, man, number two is, I know it's gonna be a blanket statement too, but like just the relationship in my life too, the people in my life. It's amazing how great friends, family, my girl, all those things, you guys,
Hmm.
like just like most people don't have those type of relationship, right? So to be in this position that I have people that actually love me for who I am, I can be
Yeah.
myself. They vibe with me. They don't want me to be someone else, right? So those are the
Hmm.
things that I cannot take for granted, man. So yeah, those would be the top two things I'm grateful for this year.
Love to hear it, man.
Yeah.
A lot to be grateful for, man. I also want to take a moment to be grateful that our man DG has finally come out and said that he's grateful for his girl, man. Because that's I feel like that's something. I don't think y'all understand. This is a pivotal moment right now. So the fact that he's come out and just said that was one of the things, that was one of the top tier things that he mentioned.
For
I
real,
want
bro.
y'all to know
You
that
gonna
You
this
got
this
sip
is
your
love
a
you
where
gonna
I'm
sip your
very
tea
at.
on that moment
pivotal.
too.
This is a very pivotal moment. So
I'm
I'm
grateful for
grateful
the
for this
tea.
moment as well. So shout out, cheers to Ray, man. She good people's, man.
For
So
sure.
That's what's up.
um, but that being said, of course, there's so much to be grateful for. I think we talk about it all the time, right? How do y'all go about practicing gratitude? What are the typical things that you guys do within your lives, big or small, that help you convey those messages?
Man, I'll start, man. I would say I don't really have like a gratitude ritual, if I'm being really honest. But
Hmm.
the fact that every morning, bro, once I'm awake and I don't hear any bad news about people I love and care about, I'm always grateful, right? Because every day, it's like I'm just grateful for the little things that I have. I have all these goals that I want to accomplish, but I believe that the fact that I'm here, the fact that I'm alive and healthy, that's something to be grateful for each day. So every day when I wake up, man, I just treat each day as a blessing. It's a gift, right? And it is a gift, right? Because a lot
Yeah.
of people will kill to be in our position, right? Sometimes we think we're not doing great, but a lot of people will kill to be in our position today. So just knowing that and seeing everyone around me shining and doing better, like I just wake up every day, man. I'm just like, grateful when I wake up in the morning. Like I'm grateful to be alive. I can actually go to the gym. I can live weight, do the things that I love. So for me, that's kind of like my gratitude. Like every morning, I just look for things to be grateful for, right? Because at the end of the day, if you just wait for life to be perfect, you want everything to fall in place. If that's the only thing you're looking for to be grateful, you're not going to be grateful because like the people like who we are, we always want to achieve more. We always want to do big things, right? It's going to be another milestone that we want to accomplish. For me, I just look at the little things each day in my life to be grateful for.
Hmm.
And the little things each day is just waking up in the morning and just being alive,
Yep.
right? And having health, just making sure that the people around me are doing good. And when everything is in alignment and in place, I'm grateful every day, for
Yep.
sure.
No, that's facts, bro. Um, for me, I think there's two things that I started doing, and really I just I pray every time I eat, right? When I sit down to eat, I pray, right?
Hmm.
So that there's one thing in the prayer, but in the prayer I started just like honestly like how sometimes you pray for things to happen. I almost just add the grateful things that I'm grateful for in the prayer. Cause it's like we
Right.
forget that
Mm,
there's things that we already got. Like there's prayers
right.
that we already, you know what I'm saying? Like there might have been a time we was just praying, we was be good, like you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like we'll just be okay or be stable or whatever, you know what I mean? So I just started adding the grateful parts in it, because kind of like what Z said, right? Like it kind of changes it shifts the what you want into what you have
Yeah.
is the focus when you switch it to the grateful, you know what I'm saying? From being grateful and gratitude. So that's one thing that I do is every time I sit down to pray, I add what I'm already grateful for in it.
Hmm.
And
Right.
another thing, man, is it's a small one. It's a small one, but I just I map out my week every week, my little planner, man, and I just throw little reminders in specific days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just pick a random day, Wednesday, just be like, yo, whatever you're going through right now, but relax, bro. You
Hmm.
dope. You know what I mean? Be grateful for
Right.
what you got. Little shit, I
Right.
just write, you know what I'm saying? It might be corny, whatever, but I just, when I map out my next week, I'm kind of like setting things up like little baby reminders, and it's kind of dope.
Right.
Like when you finally do get to that day, and you looking at Wednesday what you got to do, and it's just a little reminder to yourself, like, and it's just a little shit in there, like, relax, bro, you dope. Take a
Right.
deep breath, and you know,
That's
what I'm saying,
Right.
remind yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's something that I definitely, it's like you got everything on there that you want to do, and then you just have a little reminder in there that's like, but
yeah,
you already good though.
yeah,
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You
yeah.
already dope though. So remember that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's something that I do personally. You
You
know.
got to remind yourself, man.
Right.
Sometimes you got to, man.
Right.
Just take a step back and be like, you know what? You a cold motherfucker.
I'm bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, man, if I wasn't you, I might want to be. You know what
See what I'm
I
saying?
mean?
uh, y'all both pretty hit on the y'all both pretty much hit on the points as far as how to practice gratitude. I think I'm very synonymous in a lot of ways. Ramon mentioned it with prayer. That's something that's big for me.
Right. Right.
Is just staying grounded and rooted in my faith. That's in myself and the people around me. You know, the universe, my relationship with God. I think just like believing in something much bigger than yourself. I think staying grounded and all that, it helps you stay focused and it helps you to recenter, at times. And so you mentioned praying, for the things that you already have. That's something, it's funny when people say, keep me in your prayers. I'm like, oh, you already there. Like I'm
Right.
like you've been there.
Right.
I'm constantly always praying for, my family, friends, people that are, those less privileged, right, in the
Right.
world. I pray for them too. I think prayer is an important thing. And granted, I've been slacking on my morning prayers.
Right.
I made note of that this today. I was like, damn man, I've
Right.
been slacking on my morning. I'm good about praying before I eat, before I go to sleep, all
Right.
that stuff, But my morning prayers, for whatever reason, I think my mind just wakes because I'm sure a lot of you can relate. When your mind is moving at 1,000,000 miles per hour at all time, when you sleep, that's like the finally your time, like your brain gets
Right.
to just power down. So the first thing when I wake up, my mind is already racing with like
Right.
a million
Right.
things to do. So sometimes I forget to pray, in the morning because of that. I'm like, once that switch is back on, like it's just
Right.
like, all right,
Right.
well, I got this and that, and all this stuff. And so morning prayers I've been slacking on, man. I really have, but I am very intentional with my prayers, and I think they've worked wonders in my life. So I think that's a big way that I go about practicing my gratitude in my life. And I think also I don't want to necessarily say I'm an emotional person, but I'm pretty expressive,
Right.
is what I'll say, and I think I do express my gratitude to people quite well. And I mean, that might be little things like whether that be sending a text message, whether it be giving somebody a phone call, stuff like that. Like I'm very intentional about reaching out to my people and just letting them know, like, hey, I'm grateful for you.
Right.
I love you. Those types of those type of sentiments, man. I don't think you can ever wear those out,
Right.
right? I think I'll never get tired of hearing I love you from the people that care about me most, or saying I love you to the people that I care about most, right? Like that never gets old to me. At the end of the day, I think genuinely just expressing that and letting people know how you feel, because we know what the saying is, man. People never get their flowers until it's too late, and
Right.
so I don't ever want to be in a position where, if God forbid I leave this earth, man, and no, my people didn't know how I felt about them. Like I think most people in my life know how I feel about them, and
Right.
Right.
I think I am intentional about that. So I think it's the little things like just reaching out. I've always been pretty good about reaching out to people in that moment, because a big reason why I have ADHD, I'm almost 1,000% sure, even though I haven't been diagnosed. So when I think about something in that moment, I just do it, because I'm like, if I don't do it right now, I'm going to forget. Like,
I think
I am
we all
100%.
do.
absolutely going
We
to
all
forget.
do.
So I'm like, let me just do this shit now, because if I don't do it, I'm gonna forget it. I don't want to necessarily say the memory, but like I work like Dory. Like my shit, like that shit is out my brain like 11 seconds later, bro. So I'm
Right.
just like, I got to do it now, or it's now or never. So
Right.
I think
Right. Right.
using that to my advantage, I'm like, all right, let me just fuck it. I'm gonna just do it now, bro. Like,
Right.
because I know if I say, oh, I'm gonna just do it later, I'm not gonna do it later.
Fact,
So
you gonna
Yeah, it's
forget.
not gonna
That's me,
happen.
bro. You gotta do it now, or I gotta set an alarm or a reminder right
exactly.
away. If I don't do it, it's done. Because like we were busy, right? A lot of things going on in our lives. If we don't set an alarm or reminder to do something else, we gonna
Hmm.
forget about it that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also speaking about gratitude, the reason I believe just having an attitude of gratitude is important for me personally. It just helps me not to worry and stress about a lot of things that I can't control, right? Because I
Hmm.
know we are all on our grind. There are a lot of things that we are pursuing, but sometimes when I'm, stressed about things that I want in my life, I just sit back for a second and just reflect on the things that I currently have. And then
Hmm.
by just reflecting on those things, just taking a moment just to be grateful for those things, I realize, man, like life, like Z said, life is good, bro. Like sit back for a little bit, right? Enjoy the fresh air, think everything will be okay. Because I think gratitude just like makes you realize that, man, live in the moment for a little bit, right? Because I think most of the time we're so focused on the future of things we want to accomplish, we're not focusing on the now. I think when
Hmm.
you have the attitude of gratitude, you're just focusing on now, right? And also, gratitude doesn't mean you have to be complacent, right? Just because you have gratitude doesn't mean like you can't strive and want to do more. So it just
Absolutely.
makes you to like look around you and like, you know what? I have all these things I want to accomplish, but right now, I should be grateful for what I have right now because
Hmm.
I believe like if you believe in God, the Bible, God, you got to be content with what you have. You got to be blessed with, okay with what you have, right? The blessing around you in order for you to attract more because there are people who have everything in their life, but they are still not happy because they always want more. They're not
Hmm.
taking time to be grateful for the little things around you, right? If
Hmm.
you can appreciate the little things, like you're not really gonna appreciate the bigger things. So
Yes.
sometimes it's important,
Right.
me personally, just like take a moment. I know we have all these big goals and dreams and aspirations that we are trying to accomplish, but just take a moment and just look around you for the little things that you have in your life, man. And once you start to appreciate those little things, for me personally, it makes me happy because I wake up every morning like I'm not really worried about all the things I'm pursuing. I know eventually I'm gonna get there because now like I'm looking around me like I have good friends. I have like people that love me. I'm in a great shape and all those things, bro. Like
Hmm.
those are the things that we take for granted. I think just having that attitude for me personally helps to like alleviate a lot of stress and worries
Yep.
from your life.
Yep. And I think
Yeah,
one of
bro.
the biggest practices in that too is when you talk about attitude of gratitude. I think regularly practicing that during hard times
Right,
is important, is more important than ever. Because it's easy to have gratitude when things are going well,
fact.
right? But finding those same sentiments, those same feelings when shit hits the fan
Mm-hmm.
is a whole nother story. And
Hmm.
so that's where we always say people or things being battle tested, right?
Right,
When you've been battle tested and you've been through it, all the ups and downs, and that's just the regular course of life. You're gonna like go through hard times. No one is immune to that.
fact.
So when you do go through hard times, how do you react? How do you bounce back in those situations? And I think the way that you come out on the better side of those things, how you dig yourself out of that hole, is through having gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in those moments, because granted, there are always going to be times. I used to think about it a lot when I was growing up, that especially here in America, we think we can be the center of the universe, right? At times,
Fact.
because we're
Oh,
very selfish. But
true.
I would regularly find myself, like, as a kid, where I'd just be sitting there thinking about the problems in my life, and I was just like, man, I know that there's people out in the world who are just so much, like, who like going through so much worse than I am. And
Right.
granted, I'm not trying to invalidate my own feelings or anyone else's feelings. At
Correct.
the end of the day, your problems are your problems. But
Fact.
there's always someone in this world who has it worse off than you.
Fact.
And to your point, BG, you said earlier, there's people who would kill to be in your position. And granted, I know sometimes when you're in the darkness, it's hard to see that light,
Fact.
right? It's
Fact.
it's like, yo, I'm in the thick of this. Like, fuck all that other shit, man. Like,
Right.
like, shit is hard right now. But when you can when whatever it is, or whatever that person is that helps get you through that, or whatever the case may be, just having that gratitude to just understand that and just be like, you know what, shit is tough right now, but it could be so much worse, and I'm grateful
Right.
that it's not. Like, I'm
Right.
grateful that I see an opportunity to come back and come back better from this.
Right.
At the end of the day, and that's how you flip that, reverse that, in from being into a negative into being a positive. Right? It's not how I got here. It's like, how do I come back from this? And
Right.
it's just like, you don't get there without gratitude. And Uh, how do you guys? How do you think you guys navigate gratitude in the hard times, or like how did you come about that throughout your lives?
You want to go, Ramon?
Yeah, man. I mean, for at some points it's harder than others.
Yeah.
Right.
To be 100% honest, man. But I think in hindsight, you got to just remind yourself that, like, even a quote that I heard that really like hit for me at a specific time was how love is attached to grief,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you really only grieve things that you had like a strong love
Attachment.
for. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you might hear every day about somebody that passed, and it's like, oh, that sucks, until
Right.
it's somebody that's right next to you.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And then that grief is different when you love them. You know what I'm saying? So
For
I
sure.
think one of the things is sometimes it's hard in the moment of that gratitude, but a little bit after, you got to remind yourself that the reason that you're grieving is because you were blessed enough to have somebody that you love that strong,
Yeah.
or that you feel that
Right.
strong about.
Facts.
You know what I
Fact.
mean? So I think that's something that over like a course of time that that kind of does help, right? If you just
Mm-hmm.
realize that they're connected. So
Yeah.
if
Right.
you love anybody, you're gonna grieve at some
Yes.
point.
Fact.
That's just
Absolutely.
kind of just
Anything,
how it
bro.
works,
Anything,
man.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just if you love anything, and you're gonna grieve at some point, because things are not forever, man. Things are to be experienced in
Right.
that moment. And
Right.
I
Mm-hmm.
think that goes even further to the gratitude part of like being in the now, is appreciating those people and those things right now. There's
Mm-hmm.
one thing is, I mean, just because it's on the top of all my mind, I'm gonna connect it just real quick. It's like, even with with artists, sometimes we don't really give them their flowers in real time, man. Shout out
Right.
to Kendrick Lamar, bro. We seeing one of the dopest rappers of ever,
Ever. Shout out to
still
K
delivering
Dot.
quality shit in real time. You know what I'm saying? In real time. But I just think that there's too much of just the like, it's almost like we just hate until it's too late
Mm-hmm.
on
Right.
too many things, where we hold back until we ain't got the chance to say or do things again. So
Yeah.
I think the best way to express that in real time when you're going through those hard times is just remind yourself that love is attached to grief, and the
Yep.
people around you that you still
Mm-hmm.
have, um make sure you give them their flowers, and you connect with them while you got that chance.
Yeah. Love, love and pain are interchangeable, man.
Right.
That one doesn't come without the other. When a person you love is hurting, you're hurting. Like
Fact.
when you lose a person you love, you hurt. Like there's
Mhm.
those things. To your point, you don't know love if you don't know pain. At the end
For
of the day,
sure.
um, and kind of leaning into that conversation a little bit more. Kevin and I talked to Ramon about this, but Kevin and I, we ended up having a conversation this weekend, because we've both experienced loss in our lives, right? And grief, at all different stages and whatnot. But, shout out to Kev, he was telling me that he kind of just pulled me aside, and he shared the sentiment with me. He's like, now that I've actually gone through this and have processed it, have healed from it, he's like, I understand you so much
Right.
more. He's like, I don't know how to like put it into words, but he's like, I understand who you are as the person, like Zenas, who you are as a person. I understand why you are the way that you are, because he's like, bro, I can't experience, or like I can't imagine what it would have been like to have experienced all that loss and grief in your life that
Right.
early on, right? Like
Right.
I experienced loss and grief very early in my life.
Right.
And even though you don't understand and process those things that young, as you get older and do start to grow into adulthood, um, you realize how much those things impact your life and how much those things weigh upon you. But you
Right.
don't know why. You can't explain it why when you're younger because you don't fully comprehend yet. But Kevin and I, we were talking about it. It's crazy how much your childhood impacts your adulthood.
For
And
sure.
so much of maturing and getting to that attitude of gratitude is learning, but also unlearning,
Right.
and um, I learned that, I had the reason why that I think I am the way I am towards like family, friends, as far as just being very expressive and whatnot, is because you know what it's like to experience hurt and to like know that people should be there in your lives, but they're not, right? I know I should have a brother, a baby
Right.
brother, but he's not
Right.
here, like, and so I was always seeking to fill that void by overcompensating with my friends. Like, I always wanted my friends to like be, like brothers and sisters, because
Right.
I knew somebody was supposed to be there, but they're
Right.
not. So,
Mm.
when you realize that like these things manifest in your life in different ways, it's hard to share and express those sentiments with someone who hasn't understood or has experienced that same level of hurt. And honestly, it was really dope to have that conversation, and I felt seen in that moment, because he was just like, you know what, I understand, I get you so much more now.
Right.
He's like, I get the reason why that you are the way that you are. And he's just like, I just wanted you to know that I appreciate you, bro. Like I know you are my brother, and like I'm always have love for you, but he's like, I'm so glad that we found each other again at this stage in our lives, right? Because we grew up as friends in childhood, but like, reconnected now. He's like, it just makes so much more sense now. And this conversation made me think of that exact moment. So
Right.
Man,
Right.
shout out to
That's a good one.
Kevin. That's a heavy conversation,
yeah,
bro. I just
Right.
wanted to salute that. That was fire, bro.
yeah,
That
Right.
was
it was
crazy.
it was
That's
a, it
a
was a really
crazy
good conversation,
conversation.
man.
That's a
Right.
Yeah.
crazy conversation.
And I would say, man, the human mind is tricky and resilient at the same time, right? Because it's
Mhm.
tricky in the sense that whenever you're going through a hardship, whenever you're going through problems, sometimes you can trick yourself, or it might seem like this whatever situation you're going through is it's not going to be over, right? Right? But sometimes with time, that situation gets better. And also, let's say when it comes to losing someone, right? Sometimes you'll never feel that void. It's always going to be there. I believe that void will always be there. You always miss that person, right? You can't feel it,
Mhm.
but at the same time, our mind is so resilient in the sense that it just help us cope
Mhm.
with that. Just kind of like find ways to go on,
Yeah.
move on with life. Even though there's a void, even though we know we can never fill that void, but the resilient part is like it just like keeps all going, And I experienced something similar like recently when my surgery, right? Because I experienced loss, my grandfather, people close to me, but like just recently my surgery, when I was going through that, it just seemed like, man, this is gonna take forever, bro. Like I can't believe like the pain I'm in right now. I couldn't really at that moment. All I was focusing on was just the pain, what I was going through, right? But sometimes whenever we're going through issues and problems, we're not thinking long term,
Mhm.
which is kind of intuitive what I was talking about. I was so focusing on now. I was really into the now. I wasn't even thinking about the future. So, but me being so fixated on the now, I wasn't like looking at, man, 2, 3, 4, 5 months from now I could be better. Like I was just focusing on like my life sucks right now. I can't go to the gym right now. I can't move right. I can't do the things that I want to do right now. I was so focusing on the now, which sometimes it can be bad, right? Because all you
Yep.
focusing on the problems around you and like how your life is shitty, but you're not thinking about long term. Like,
Mhm.
hey man, if I stay on this course, if I just keep being persistent over time, I'm gonna get better. And I feel like sometimes whenever we are dealing with issues, we focus on the now, right now, we focus on the lack, and we fail to realize that with time, things will get better, right? It's not going to be 100% better, but with time, most likely, whatever problems and obstacle that you're going through in life, man, with time, if you have the right resource, the right group around you, life is going to get better. So
Absolutely.
don't allow like a temporary problem to like debilitate you, to like make you feel like things are like everything's gonna go to like ruin. And that's how I felt at that time. And fast
Mhm.
forward now, I'm not 100% better yet, but now thinking, reflecting on that time, like, damn, it's crazy because like you guys noticed that, bro. Like I was like a little bit depressed for a little bit. I was kind of like sad because all I did, like, I was never used to just sitting on the couch ever in my life, not doing anything. Like I felt like dependent on people. If I want to go and grab a remote, I have to ask somebody, here, bro, can you help me? And I'm like, damn, man, like this shit sucks, right? I was like,
Mhm.
damn, I can't wait till this shit to be
Yeah.
over. But at the same time, by me focusing on that, I realized that I was becoming more depressed, just focusing on the problem instead of like thinking, like, all right, this shit sucks right now, but I'm gonna be better in a couple months if I do everything, if I
Absolutely.
follow, physical therapy. But sometimes we just so fixated on the problem, and then we allow the problem to consume us, right? That's why sometimes people get into like really depressive episode, right? Because
Yep.
they're so
Mhm.
focused on like you see this stuff, you see that with breakup so many times, right? You
Yeah.
have a relationship
Absolutely.
ends, and then you're like, God damn, this like my worry is like over. And now you see
Mhm.
people like turn to like alcoholics, like drugs and all that stuff. They
Mhm.
never give themselves enough time to like grieve and realize that, man, this person is not in my life no more, but things will get better. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get better because that's why the resilient part I talked about, the human mind.
Yeah.
So all I want to say, like sometimes just give it time.
Yeah.
Whatever you're going through, just give it time, and with time, you're gonna feel a lot better. Don't make don't make decision on temporary problems.
Hmm.
That's a fact, bro. There's a piece that I wanted to add to what you were saying because that was heavy. Um, having that gratitude piece added into some of these moments, you can feel it still though,
Right,
right? Like that's what
right,
I think that people don't realize. A lot of times it's like that attitude of gratitude that y'all saying, it might mess around, change your latitude.
right.
you know. Nah, but what I'm saying is like like you can feel when somebody is, um, like when somebody walks into the room and they're grateful for what they got, you can kind of feel it
Yeah,
versus
absolutely.
somebody who walks into it and you could tell they're not grateful for anything. They're
Yep.
not
Right.
grateful for the service at the restaurant. They're not grateful for any. You feel that negative energy,
Yeah.
but you feel on the other side, you feel that energy of gratitude too. And like like you said, even though you was going through that at that moment, you could still feel like you were still grateful for
Right,
things. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
it's
right,
still an
right,
energy that you put out. That's one thing that we had talked about before this. I want to kind of connect it right now. Is like having that energy of gratitude is almost
right,
it's contagious, and it's like a magnet. Like it's like it attracts
Hmm.
abundance. You see what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Like that's what we were
right,
just talking about before. Here is like it literally attracts it, and you you never really think about that in the moment, but just being grateful for the things that you have is an energy that opportunities or people in general are always going to gravitate to. And
right,
if they're gravitating to you, it's only a matter of time before that opportunity is yours or that abundance, those things in abundance are yours because you're
Yep.
attracting them. So like that's why I think it's even more important to just, to have that energy or that
right,
just walk around and carry
Feel it.
that because people feel it. People
Yep.
feel it,
right,
man. No,
Yep.
I like for me, that's one of my pet peeves is when just people is just ungrateful for shit.
right,
That's one of
right,
my pet
right,
peeves, bro. You know what I'm
right,
saying? I can't be around that energy. But when people
right,
are, you can tell they're just good with themselves and
Yeah.
they like, okay. I honestly, now that I think about it, I almost feel like ungratefulness is almost like a cause of a lot of
Yep.
insecurities when you
right,
break it down, right? Like if you're just grateful for everything you had, you're comfortable in yourself. But when you're ungrateful, it's kind of like that's when you feel weird things about yourself. Or I wish I had that,
Yep.
and only if I had this and this, if I didn't look this
right,
way, or I did, if I
right,
just,
Yep.
you know what I mean? It's like the ungratefulness, and that's where insecurity
right,
comes out. So I
Yeah.
think it's dope when you see people that are grateful that kind of walk into a room of just like, like there
Hmm.
might be some things I wouldn't mind changing, but I'm good with me.
Yeah.
That's a
right,
different
Facts.
type of energy.
Facts.
That's a different type of energy. You know what I
Facts.
mean?
That when you're grateful and when you're happy, man, that exudes in a very particular way, man. It's infectious, like you said, and uh, gratitude and the law of attraction go hand in hand. It's only natural that I think all the time about it, right? Because when I was recently in Sacramento, one of my coworkers, she was mentioning that she's like, man, I just always seem to attract bad guys, and like she's like, I can't always, I'm just always around like the worst people, and I was just like, I was sitting there and I was just like, damn, like I don't want to say like I wonder what that's like because like I'm just like so far removed from that, right? Like I'm
right,
just I can't help but just no matter which way I look, I find great people and
right,
great people are all around me,
right,
and I think there's a reason for that, man. I think what you put out into this world is what you're gonna receive, man. And if you're never grateful for nothing, what makes you what makes you think you would be
right,
rewarded? Like what makes you think that life or God or whoever is going to reward you if you're not grateful for shit? Like I'm like, how
right.
could you expect to like receive anything? And so when you
If
talk about it being a
you're not grateful for a slice. Why I'm gonna give you the
well,
whole
I'm
pie?
gonna give you the whole
Like you,
pie, like it's just
why,
like
It's
I'm gonna
facts.
give you the whole pie. Like
you see what I'm saying? And it's just like that shit is so nuts to me. Um when you talk about it being a magnet for abundance, man, that's something that's huge as we get older and that we've been reflecting on a lot, right? Is uh the biggest thing I think in transitioning from a mentality of scarcity to a mentality of abundance is
Right,
gratitude
right,
and understanding that the the energy, the relationship that you share with the people in your life, but also like the things in your life money has energy. Money carries energy, like
Right.
everything does, and so whether people want to believe it or not, like I'm like, it's all a constant, it's all a constant flow, right?
For
Like, and you
sure.
have to like let those things flow into your life in abundance, but in order to do that, you have to be grateful for it. You have to be grateful for what you are, what you have now, what was past, and what's coming. That's the only way that you'll ever get there. And like you said, Pete, like, how can I give you the pie if you can't even enjoy the slice? Like,
Right.
you don't even know where to start. Like,
Right.
you got to start with you
Right.
first and foremost. And I think a lot of people are always sitting there pointing the finger at everybody else but
Right.
themselves, and
Right.
and that's where you got to get real with yourself sometimes. Just look in the mirror like, yo, I got
Right.
to figure some shit out.
Right.
I got to figure some shit out.
I would say most people practice ungratefulness, right? Because at the end of the day, if you just like, let's be honest, bro. If we sit down right now on this live, if we look for problems and things in our life that are not good, we're gonna find it, right? I'm sure there's some things that I want to work on. There's some things that we all want to work on.
Yeah.
There's some things, some areas of our life we can improve, right? But my thing is gratitude is like looking for things that are working. It doesn't mean that you always neglect the bad areas though. It doesn't mean that you don't improve those things. But like realizing that hey man, life is not always gonna be perfect, right? There's gonna be some good days I feel like shit. There's gonna be some good days I feel good. There's gonna be some days that I feel like shit. But I think gratitude is knowing that and just looking for the things that are good, right? Because even the Bible said, knock and you will find. But if you're just knocking on the wrong door looking for shit, don't start like young blood. Don't start no shit. There won't be no shit, right?
You stupid.
So if
the
you go,
the fact that you intertwine young bloods and the Bible,
in
a
the
Bible
see
in
is
the
that
same
is
everything.
sentences.
beyond me.
You see everything.
It's both.
Everything flows.
Both of them is
Everything
gospel.
flows.
You know what I'm
It's gospel. They all flow together, right?
And
So,
let the people say, Amen.
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 So,
Don't start no shit, won't be no shit. Amen.
amen.
Show you
So
right.
I
You know?
think most of the time though, people just look for things that are not right in their life. Like, oh, I always attract the wrong people. Yeah, duh.
Mhm.
Like you are putting that out there. You put that negative energy
Yep.
out there. So obviously you're gonna attract the wrong people. But like if you reflect on your life and look for like, okay, why am I always attracting the wrong people? Is this something I can do about it? Now you're gonna like see things a little different, right? But most of the time, I think most often we just complain about every little thing. Like first world problem. I'm sure
Hmm.
my internet is not working today. I'm gonna go on Twitter and cry about it. Oh, like the delivery guy is taking my Amazon package is not here. Like it should be here on Monday. It's not here Monday.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be upset. That's gonna ruin our day. I think nowadays we allow the basest things, bro, to ruin our days.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like Z said, we're a little selfish in America, bro. We are a little bit selfish because we have everything close. We have things that we need right away. But in other country, in other culture, people are grateful because they don't have anything, right?
Hmm.
So if they can find a little thing to be happy for, they are grateful for that. Because at the end of the day,
Yep.
man, if you can just wake up today and you have food to feed your kids and family, that's something you're grateful for. You don't care about the stock market right away because at the end of the day, your basic needs are being met.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
I think most of the time we're just so fixated on like what's wrong.
Hmm.
Because if you look for what's wrong, there's gonna be a lot of it, right? We
Yep.
all have a lot what's wrong. If you look for a
Yeah.
person, if I want to look at fault in Z or Ramond, I'm gonna find a lot. But if I look for the quality, the good thing that I admire, or vice versa, if you gotta look for the qualities in me that you guys like and admire, you guys gonna find a lot. And I think most of the time we're just too busy looking at things what's not working instead of us
Absolutely.
like improving on what's going on, what's working for us. We're just too
Absolutely.
concerned with the negativity. And with that mindset, you're always going to be ungrateful because nothing's going to be enough. Like you're
Yeah.
going to get a slice of pizza. You're like, why didn't I get two boxes? Why didn't I have
Yeah.
three? Just
Yeah.
be grateful for the
Yep.
little thing. Why are you giving me cheese when I say I want a pepperoni?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's free.
Yeah.
You didn't pay for it,
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we just look for reason to like complain. And I believe that but whenever we look for those reasons, we're going to find a lot of reason to be unhappy
Yeah.
and ungrateful for sure.
Absolutely. You touched on something that was a bar,
Yeah. That was great.
when you
That
said,
was a great point.
yeah, you
Thanks,
you
bro.
touched on something that was a bar about when you go looking for something, right? And it makes me think about the red card theory all the time, right? I don't know who's ever familiar with the red card theory, but the red card theory is, right, you don't ever really think about things until you go looking for it,
For
right?
sure.
If you all of a sudden purchase a red car, you start to see so many more red cars because now you're looking
Everywhere.
for it, right? Like, damn, why does everybody have the same car that I got?
Hmm.
Right.
Like, shit. And I can't help but think about that all the time. If you go looking for something, you're going to find it.
Right.
Like, you are
Every
absolutely
time.
going to find it. And
Every
oftentimes,
time.
I think people are so fixated on finding the wrong shit
Right.
that they just like it's only natural. It's
Right.
only, that of course it's inevitable that it's gonna like find its way into your life because you're allowing it to manifest, right?
Right.
You are allowing that to happen. And so I know in my life, when it comes to the red car theory, the only red car I'm out there looking for is abundance, is
Right.
purpose, is greatness, is laughter. Those are the things that I'm looking for. I'm not
Hmm.
going out and I'm not seeking drama. I'm not seeking toxicity, like all
Right.
that shit. Like, I feel in this world, in today's age, with everything that's accessible to us at all times, it's so easy to fall into that trap of
Right.
toxicity and of negativity, man. Like,
Right.
it's just it's everywhere, man. Like, if you go looking
You
for it, but if you don't
find
go
it.
looking for it, man, it's just like, bro, I'll be sitting here like Stevie Wonder, like you said, what?
Right.
Like, I don't see none of that shit.
Right.
I don't see no drama in my life. I don't see no toxic people in my life. And the reason why it is because I'm not going out there. I don't have a red car. First and foremost, I don't have a car. I live in New
Right.
York, so thank you
Right.
very much. I ain't got no car. Public transportation for your boy. Shout out. And secondly, even if I did have it, I don't care. Like, if you got the same car as me, cool.
Right.
Shit, salute. King, queen, cool. Like,
Right.
you got good
Yeah.
taste. You got good
Yeah.
taste. Shit. Like, shit. Tip my hat to you. Even though I
Yeah.
don't wear hats, but it's okay.
For
Let me
sure.
tell you for you. You know what I mean? Nah, that's a great points, fellas. Like, and I'm sitting here like I felt like I was like just like a listener on this thing. like it's that how important that is, and I think that's why everywhere we go, we find that in
The
every
vibe, like you
country.
talked about the
It's like
vibe.
you don't even have to speak the language sometimes, and
Right.
it still comes off. It's still you can still find these things that you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
DG, I really love what you said when just like if you woke up every day and then just kind of like started counting your blessings on everything you did versus
Right.
everything that went wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, damn, I woke up today. Damn, I had a bed today. Damn,
Right.
I'm able to brush my teeth. I got running water. If you did that all day,
Right.
it would be crazy
Yeah,
for the amount
Forever.
of things
yeah.
that you would do it for. But what it made me think of is like it's kind of like you get used to things so much
Mm-hmm.
that you
Right.
start
It's true.
overlooking all those little things, and then
Right.
the one thing that's off is the thing that
Mm-hmm.
you focus on,
Right.
right? Like if somebody came to your door today and gave you $1,000, right? You'd be like, oh
Right.
hell yeah. But if
Right.
they did that every day for 3 years, by the
Right.
by the third year, you'd be like, for sure,
Yeah,
appreciate
for
it,
sure.
right on. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
for us we probably will, but some people be like, damn, this nigga late. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Where my 1,000 at? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
You about 17 minutes past due,
Like
man.
damn,
What's up?
bro, what held you up, bro?
Right.
I got plans for that money. You know, like you know what I'm saying. So like I think people get so used to the natural blessings that we always got around us that it's easy to
Right.
overlook.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you almost have to disconnect from the things from that concept that because there's a possibility you not having these things around you.
Yeah,
You
Right.
know what I mean? So I think you
absolutely.
got to disconnect from that sometimes and just be like, man, I don't care that my internet went out for 30 minutes and it messed up the
Right.
IG live.
Right.
Yeah,
And you know what
It's
I'm saying?
okay. Right. Right.
We talked about that before too. If like you could kind of tell what type of life you have based on your problems, the level of
Right.
your
facts,
problems. If that's your biggest problem
facts.
of the day, I promise you your life is
Yeah,
good. You know what I
Life is
mean?
good
So
life.
facts.
yeah, bro.
So something that
100%.
we've talked about being grateful for so much, and we do have so much to be grateful for. But nobody's perfect, right? We don't always go about showing our gratitude in all particular lights as much as we should at times. That being said, is there a particular person in your life that you think deserves more gratitude, and how could you go about expressing it?
Ooh-wee.
Uh,
Hey, y'all
man,
if y'all in here in the chat too, y'all think about that question too. That's heavy, man.
I would say my parents for sure, bro. The things that did for us, from Africa here, all the sacrifices they made on their life to make our life better. I would say I owe everything to them, and that's kind of like for me one of my goals, bro. I'm trying so hard to like reach to a point that I can like buy my mom a house and do all these things for them, because they're the one that actually sacrificed. Like they paved the way. They're like the MLK, right? They fought for freedom. They're the freedom fighters to
Hmm.
make my life to be better. Because if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have been in this position today, right? To have all the things that I hear. They even be here in the States. So shout out to them. I would say I owe it all to like my parents for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They paved the way for my life to be better. They didn't there are certain things that they weren't able to accomplish for us, you know.
Hmm.
So I think like we owe it all to them, man. So
They
yeah, for sure, my
deserve it
parents for
all.
sure. Yeah, they deserve it all. I would say that's for me.
So, how could you go about expressing your gratitude for?
I
I mean,
mean,
of course, we all want to buy our parents a house.
right.
You know, we all want to get them. But
Right.
yeah,
I mean, just every day, like sometimes, like sometimes our parents, like they get on our nerve, but just allowing that, just
absolutely.
like being low, having more empathy for them sometimes. Whenever they get on
Hmm.
your nerve, realizing I understand, like not being too harsh on them, and be like, I understand where they're
Yeah,
coming from because sometimes they get on my
yeah,
nerve, to be honest. Like every parents, we know that, but just having
absolutely.
like, but having like empathy towards them.
Hmm.
And just making sure you like, checking up on them, just like showing that gratitude. Like it doesn't always have to be like materialistic things, like you buying things for them, like showing up, visiting them, like spending time
Hmm.
together, right? Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
once we get older now, we don't have that relationship, no, in the sense that he is my baby, all that. Now I got other things I'm pursuing, mom. I got all these other things in my life. You're not my main priority no
Hmm.
more. But just like taking a step back and realize that, hey man, they did a lot for you. So sometimes show gratitude by just like making sure you're checking up on
Yeah,
them, making sure you like paying them a visit.
yeah,
Just the little things that money can buy, like spending time, like quality
absolutely.
time with friends and family, bro. Like there's no amount of money that can buy those time,
Mhm.
right? Knowing that also for me is like knowing that they're getting older, they don't have that much time, and just now time is important. Like not just spending time, but spending quality time with them. Making
Hmm.
sure when you're there,
Hmm.
that conversation, you're not just on your phone scrolling and all that. Just being immersed in the conversation. For me, that's
Yeah,
how I'll pay it back to them for sure.
yeah, and that's why I love this time of year, man. You talk about quality time. That's why I love the holidays so much, man. It doesn't have anything to do with gift
Yeah,
giving or receiving
yeah,
or none of that. It's just genuinely spending good time with good people, having good vibes, laughing, chilling, horsing around. Just living. It's the simple
right,
things, man. And
right,
that's why I love this time of year so much. Is for that reason.
sure. What about you
What
That's
guys?
a
about you,
fact.
bro?
That's a I agree, man. My favorite holiday, man, the three F's: food, fun, and family. You know,
That's it. That's
maybe
it.
throw football in there. You know, yeah, all the F's, man. But I want to echo that just off rip, but I'm gonna go another route just because that's a given for me.
Right,
But just to take it another route for the sake of the conversation, I want to say that two people that I don't give it to enough is my grandparents too. You know what I mean? I know like a lot of people is not like not blessed to have grandparents to still living. You know what I mean? And
right,
I have a grandma on my dad's side that I'm really close to, and my grandpa on my mom's side that I'm really close to. But I definitely don't tell them enough how much I appreciate our relationship over
Yeah.
time. And you realize I seen Denzel Washington say this the other day. He was like, the first part of your life you learn, second
Yep.
part of your life you earn, and the
Yep.
third part of your life you
Yep.
return. Right?
Yep.
right,
And I thought, and you realize that like the relationship between a grandparent and a grandchild sometimes is like them learning and the other one
right,
returning. You know what I'm saying? Like
right, for
that's
sure.
really the dynamic there, man. And it makes me think about my grandpa sometimes just cooking all this food, and you just think about like he's just throwing down, but really what it is, he just wants people around.
Right,
Like he
Yeah.
just, what I'm saying, he just
Yeah.
wants
right,
all he cares about is the conversation.
That's
Same with my
right,
it.
grandma. I thought some of the best cooking you'll ever have, you know what I'm
right,
saying? But all she really cares about at that moment is just having you around, your presence. There's
Yeah.
no, in that relationship, there's no, I want something or need something from you.
right.
It's just like, all they want at that point is,
Your
like you
time,
said, DG, that quality time.
for
That's
sure.
You
it.
know what I mean? And that's two people I for sure could, tap in with a little bit more than I do. It's always love when I see them, but
Right,
you don't always see him.
right,
You don't always
That's
see
it.
him. We live in different states now.
right,
You don't always see
right.
him. So sometimes you gotta take that extra leap and just reach out sometimes, man. So
Yeah.
shout out to the grandparents, man.
Shout out to the grandparents, man. They
Shout
good
out to the
people, man.
grannies.
Yeah, man. Anybody who knows me knows that I have a very strong relationship with my mom, man. So, as far as like who knows and that gets all the gratitude in my life is for sure my mom. My mom, like I think I could always give a little bit more
Right.
gratitude, but my mom knows how much I call my mom every Friday. Like
Right.
every Friday, I call her, talk. She in Hawaii now, out there living her best life.
Right.
So I can't be just pulling up on her all the time like that, So,
My
um,
Dukes.
until we got that 100 M's in the bank, and then it's just like, all right, mom, flying you out, I'm gonna fly out, whatever the case may be, cool. But until then, I think just I look forward to our conversations every Friday because even if we're on the phone for just like 5 minutes, just
Right.
just check in. I think it's so important. I know we talked about that. Is just really just spending time talking to people. As you get older, man, you realize how much that means to you. Because I know we've talked about this before, man, but one of the hardest things to do is to watch the people that you care about get older, man. Like
Facts.
my mom is 70 years old now, and so
Right.
to have experienced so much throughout our lives, like and what we went through, what we encountered together, and feeling like I never, to your point, DG, earlier when you said like she would get on my nerves
Right.
and like I didn't quite express the sentiments as they should have been when I was younger, right?
Right.
My mom sacrificed so much for me, man, and I think back to like moments when I was younger, when I was in like high school and stuff like that. My mom, she never used to dye her hair, but
Right.
she always wanted me to like pluck her gray hairs,
Right.
and I would be so annoyed when she would ask me to pluck her. She'd be like, my mom would just like, she's just like, can you like help me pluck my gray hairs? And you know me, 15-year-old me is like, man, I got so much better shit that I could be doing with my
Right.
life than pluck your damn
Good
hairs,
hair.
and I think back to moments like that, and I'm just like, damn, man, I should
Yeah.
have spent more time just plucking my mom's hairs, man, and just like,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I do it, but I do it for about 7 minutes and start getting like fidgety. I'd be like,
Yeah.
Mom, you look good. You don't need no more. You're like,
You
you good.
good.
Right.
You all
Yeah.
right. But I honestly look at moments like that, and then I'm just like, man, that's all I would want to be doing right now is just like
Right.
spending
Right.
time with my mom and just doing whatever it is that she needs of me because I know what she contributed to my life, but also I know that I'm not going to get to be able to do that forever. Right?
Right.
I know that as we get older, like the death is something that is certain in all of our lives, man.
For
And so I
sure.
know at some point that that's going to happen. And
Right.
I don't ever want to think about it from like a morbid perspective, but I do think about it from a realistic perspective. It's just like
True.
I'm not going to be able to have all those conversations and do
Mhm.
those things for my mom that I want to, right? And so that's
Right.
why I'm so pressed to like just share that space. And as my mom gets older, and just as people get older too, right? Like all we care about is spending quality time with our people because we know it's finite. We're
Right.
not time
Right.
isn't something we'll ever get more of. And
Right. Right.
when you know and recognize that, and when you express that gratitude, I think people just know that. And so um I think my mom knows she does,
Right.
but
Right.
I will say who I think I could go about expressing more gratitude for in my life specifically is my nieces and nephews. I've been reflecting a lot on that conversation recently.
Right.
Anyone who knows me, I got 21 nieces and nephews, man. So I got a lot of them
Damn.
things.
A lot of
I
them
got
things.
a lot. I got a
Right.
lot of them things, man. And I've been an uncle since like I can remember, man. I've been an uncle since I was a kid, bro. So it's just like I'd be like growing up and like, like my nieces
Uncle
and nephews be like, hey,
Steve.
what's up, uncle? And I'm like, man, I'm only like 7 years older than you. Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm like, bro, what? Like, you know, um,
Call me
but
cousin or something.
but it's
Uncle Steve.
I reflect on it a lot and I'm just like, I think in being in those moments where you just know that tunnel vision is just always the thing and always being so invested in the future and making shit happen, right? You know, I find myself not tapping in with my nieces and nephews as much as I should. Now I know that the love is always there because every
Right.
time I talk to one of my nieces and nephews, they're like, "Man, Uncle Z, you killing it." Because they see on social
Right.
media and all this shit, like you out there in Rwanda and
Right.
Brazil, you living your best life and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't ever want them to feel like I'm ever out of reach or that
Right.
they can't, like we can't have a conversation or anything like that. And so I think that being said, for any of my nieces and nephews who see this, just know I love you, and at the end of the day, I want to make y'all proud, man. I want to make everybody proud, like I want to make anyone who knows me to be like, yo, he was a real motherfucker, man. And, and,
Yeah.
and, and, that's somebody that I could definitely show a little bit more gratitude to, and just spending a little bit more time with, which I think I've been a little bit more intentional about when I do go back to Denver and like places where my nieces and nephews are. I go out of my way to go see them now. I didn't used to do that. Like, I'd pull up in Denver and go see, like maybe immediate family, go see the homies and stuff like that. But then I wouldn't pull up on my nieces and nephews, and so. I think as time has progressed and being in my mid 30s now, I'm just like, damn, man, like
Right.
I feel like I'm fully in that uncle mode now. I'm like, I'm
Right.
Uncle Z, so I'm like, I feel like this is that prime uncle, this is that prime uncle time.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, man, I'm embracing that full on uncle role, man, and that's something I'm actually excited about. Whenever I see one, especially as some of my nieces and nephews are graduating high school and shit, and you can actually have impactful conversations with
Right.
them.
Yeah, yeah,
When your nieces and nephews are like 4 years old, it's like, yeah, well, you the
Play.
cool uncle, you come around, you do
Right.
fun shit, But it's just like when you can actually have an impact on someone's life and really help influence them for the better. It's just like, tell me what it is that you want to do. Like,
yeah.
I don't we don't have to talk about college. We don't have to talk about the army, the military, whatever. Just tell me what it is that you want to do and how I can support you and shit like that. And so
Right.
um, that's something I've been leaning into a lot more, man, and just expressing that gratitude. So yeah, I think that's somebody who I could do a better job at it
Right.
for.
That's a good one, bro. Just to connect the two, they're gonna always hear their uncle's voice different than their parents.
That's
Right.
it.
Always.
That's it.
You gonna be the cool uncle that be in Brazil and Rwanda and where you at now, huh? You know what I'm saying? The craziest thing, we were just talking about that, like being in the uncle role, you know this too, DG,
Right.
is like as much as you give or as little as you give, like at the same time, it don't take much to be a good uncle, though.
It
It
doesn't
You
take
know
don't.
a
It
what
lot.
don't.
I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Like
on
no matter,
fire
you know what I'm
right
saying?
there.
When you pop up, it's vibes.
That's
Like they always gonna have
it,
like
man.
that love for your uncle, whether you didn't see him in two
Right.
years
That's
or
it.
you see him every other week. You know what I'm saying? Like so that you do become a voice for them that's like outside. It's like it's still authority. You're older than them. There's still the authority piece, but it's like the cool authority,
Yeah.
right? Like they're gonna
Right.
trust your word, but they're not
Right.
gonna try to necessarily just rebel what you say.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So there is
Facts.
that cool dynamic there for sure.
Right.
Yeah. For sure, man.
And Z, you brought up a really good point. When you were growing up, like plucking your mom hair, right? I had a similar experience because I'm the youngest of five boys, and my
Hmm.
mom always wanted a daughter so bad. So she was, I'm not gonna say guilt trip me, but whenever I'm around, she like, oh, if I had a daughter, she'll be doing this for me, and I feel guilty, and I was like, so I used to actually enjoy when she was getting ready because I would be around. She was like, "Oh, are your brothers not here to help me? If I had a daughter, she would be doing these things for me." So I
Yeah.
was like her errand boy, right? I would go and grab her, her shoes and bring all those things. And when you said that, I was like, I actually missed the moment because I
Yeah.
can never be able to create that again, right?
Yeah.
Because it was
Mm-mm.
a beautiful time. I feel like that was us spending quality time together. And I used to be annoyed, right? I was like, man, I want to go outside and go play soccer, but I'm out here like my mom, like her personal assistant, helping her get ready and shit.
Yeah.
But it was just so funny, like like. And Tuesday, I actually now as I'm older, I do enjoy that, right?
Yeah.
My girl's getting ready. I'm in the bathroom next to her, just sitting there. And the other day, I was reflecting on like, oh, the reason why I enjoy these things because that's something I used to do growing up. I always used to be around my mom when she was getting ready. And I used to be her little errand boy. Give me this, grab me that diamond, give me that. Like, go bring this over here.
Yep.
But during that time, I was so pissed. I have so much better things I want to do on my time than watching you get ready
Yeah.
and help you get ready. Like I don't want to be here. But she would make me feel like, oh yeah, if I had a daughter, she'll be here doing these things for me. I'm like,
Yep.
damn, I get that. So let me be a good son. But
Yeah.
like now, like those are the
Yep.
memories and things that like of my mom. But as I'm older, I'm like, damn, I reflect on those times and like, yeah, those were good times. And like those memories, bro, they're just gonna live forever. We can never be able to like recreate this memory ever again. But the
Mm.
fact that I experienced that, even though I was upset as a kid, but now I'm older, I'm like, you know what? That was a good time. I'm glad that I was able to like be her little personal assistant.
Yeah. That's,
I,
That's
yep.
fire. That's fire,
Yeah,
bro.
I just thought of
man.
that.
It's real, man. It's real.
You should tell her that one day,
No,
man.
I will.
Yeah.
I
Y'all
will that.
both. I don't know if y'all ever have, but that
Yeah.
would be dope to both tell them. Like, you
Yeah,
know what
Yeah,
I'm
I will
man.
saying?
tell her.
I
We're gonna
mean,
have to chop this video up. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to
yeah.
chop this one up, man.
I'll have to tell her that
Yeah.
because it
It's
was funny. I was thinking about
you know,
it.
you know what's funny? Because we talk about it all the time. Um, But especially being in this role, like and being sharing a space in a particular platform where we can like talk about ourselves and talk to other people about themselves and whatnot. What I've realized, I was actually talking to, who was I talking to about it this weekend? Um, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Austin this weekend or somebody. But they were saying like how they don't really like to take like photos and videos a lot. Like they'd rather just live in the moment. And I'm fully on board with that. Like I do think we're way too attached to our phones and our
Right.
devices. But I do think it is very important to document your journey. And the
Right.
reason why I say that is because legacy is attached to document. Oh, I was talking to you, Ramon. I was
Yeah, we
legacy
were
is
just talking about that. Yeah.
legacy is attached to documentation, right? Because you they say if you ain't snapping, it ain't happen.
Right.
But it's true though, because
It's fact.
like think about it, right? Like the prime example I was thinking of is like no one has any recollection or any video of Wilt Chamberlain dropping 100 points, bro. Like no one, and that's like that's the highest scoring game in NBA history. No one's ever seen it. There's
There's
no
not a
video footage of it.
video of that.
There is no video of it, bro. So
Really?
it's
Doesn't
just
exist.
like, did
Yeah.
it even really happen? But I vividly remember Kobe dropping 81,
Right.
and I can't help but just be like, yo, this is fucking crazy.
And
Like,
if you didn't remember it, you could go watch it.
could see it. You could go
Right.
You know what I'm
watch
saying?
it
It's
right now.
documented. It's
And that's
That's
documented.
that's the
Yeah.
thing
crazy.
is like legacy is attached to documentation, man.
Right.
Like legacies are carried on by like, if you think about the Bible, right? The legacy of the Bible has been able to be passed on because of the word, right?
Right.
It's been written down and passed down generation for generation. That's how legacy continues to live and thrive. And so
Right.
that's why I do think it is very important to document those things. And so that being
Right.
said, I want to be very intentional about like the next time I do connect with my mom. I was telling you this, Ramon, but I actually like want to just like sit down with my mom and just interview her
Right.
and just like
Hmm.
talk to her about her life, and
Right.
just like how she got here, like life, what was life like before having kids, and then after having kids, and all the sacrifices that she made, and would she do anything differently, and all those things, and just like I think having that opportunity to share that space and have those authentic moments with someone who I'm obviously so intimately connected to. Like I love my
Right.
mom, but like I know there's still so many things about my mom that I probably don't know. Like, and
Fact. Same
it's
here.
because like when I was younger, like I just never really asked,
Right.
But I think
Yeah.
it's important to pass on that legacy so I could show my kids one day, like, hey, this is, like God forbid if my mom, passes, or whatever the case may be, I could be like, yo, this was your grandma and she was an
Right.
amazing person. And, her being able to tell her own story from her own mouth, that's something that I really want to do
I
and be
love it.
intentional about is just sitting down and having those conversations and being able to share those moments. Like, Mom, I remember when I used to pick your gray hairs and I used to hate that
Right.
shit, but like now I'm like, shit, you could pay me. You couldn't, you wouldn't even have to pay me. I'll be like, shit, I'll do that for free forever.
Right.
So
That's a fact, man. And it just be a piece of content that you always be able to reference
yeah,
yourself too. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We was talking about that too. I did something similar with my grandpa,
yeah,
and just to have those conversations, we talked about some things that I never really knew. I asked him who was the oldest person he remembered in his
Right.
family. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And it was just like, damn, you know what I mean? And it's crazy, like you start hearing those stories of like your lineage a little bit, and
Right.
it's like
Right.
you start realizing things that are in you and things they had to go
Right.
through, things they was going through while you didn't remember it, all kinds of things, man. I think those conversations is always going to be
Right.
heavy, and to document
Right.
it, I feel like it's going to be a piece of content that even if the world never see it,
Right.
it's
it
okay.
will serve its purpose in your own life.
Exactly,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
exactly.
Now, I think it's important, even like for me, bro. Like, cause from my childhood, right? Like, I don't have any memories. Like, I was talking to Ray
Yeah,
of it of my childhood, cause like Liberia, like, we went through a period of time like civil war and everything. So I don't have any pictures
yeah,
when I was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, I don't have any. So like my entire childhood, like my memories, like to me, is like wiped away, cause
yeah.
I have nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I was thinking about it the other
Yeah,
day. I was like, now as I'm getting older, I was like, you know what? Since my pretty much my childhood was like erased and wiped away. I don't have like any like recollection, like memories of those things. Like when my 3-year-old birthday, 4, 5, 6, like my brothers, like siblings growing up. I don't have anything because like during the war, everything was like wiped away from us. So now as I'm getting older, that's one of the main reason why I'm like every moment I'm just want to like document, like my
yeah,
adult life because like childhood's done. If you say show me a picture of DG when 4 years old, I don't have any. Like none of
Yeah.
those things. And at
Yeah.
one point, it used to bother me. I'm like, damn, man, I wish, I would like, even to this day, to be honest, like, I think about it, I'm like, bro, I wish I could just go back and see
Yeah.
like a video of me when I was 4 years old, what I was
Yeah.
like, things
Yeah.
I was interested in, like what I was wearing.
Yeah.
It just sucks that I
Facts.
don't have
Facts,
those
bro.
things, and like
Yeah.
sometimes I be thinking about, like, damn, man, like even what did I do when I was 5 years old, my birthday, six,
Yeah.
seven, like nothing.
Yeah.
And sometimes like kind of like made me feel some type of way about it. But I ended up like, man,
Yeah.
fuck it, it's a past. But now it's like we gotta like document as we get older. Like, and that's a good idea
Absolutely.
too. With my parents too, just like talking to them, how it's like for them having five kids, like growing up, all those things. Because like a lot of things about them that I think I don't know, right? I
Yeah.
think having that conversation, being able to like document, there are a lot of things I can be able to explore and understand from them. So
Yeah.
that's a good idea. I think
I
I
mean,
think I'm gonna like.
think about it, bro. Like, how many conversations have you had with your parents when you literally just talked about them?
A lot.
It's probably not a
Right.
lot. Like honestly, most times it's always about like, you know, us going to them for
Right.
advice or,
Basic.
like
Right.
needing
Right.
something or, whatever the case may be. Now it's different, right? Because there's a different dynamic between,
Right.
you and
Yeah.
your parents,
Right.
right now. But when I think about when I was younger and whatnot, like I never, like we never really like my mom and I never really talked about like, her life and stuff like that. And so like
Right.
that's why I absolutely do agree with you though, because um my parents were never really good about taking photos and
Right.
videos. So in a similar way, I don't have a lot of documentation from my childhood either.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have snippets and moments, but there's like so much of my childhood that like isn't documented
Right.
that I have to rely on my memory alone. And I'm
Shit, I don't
like,
even have a
that's
memory.
only that's only gonna get you so far, so but it's crazy because I was telling y'all about that conversation that I had with Kev earlier, but we also had another like layered conversation within that conversation. Within that conversation, there was a lot of layered conversations. But another conversation that we had was when the crazy thing about grief and experiencing loss is the more and more time that goes along, you do learn to cope. But there's moments where I find myself getting scared because it's just like you almost feel like their memory fading at times
Right.
because and especially because I don't have anything to like a
Right.
lot to
Look
cling
at.
on to
Right.
for
Right.
documentation. Like the thought scares me that it's just like if somebody gave me a piece of paper and a pencil and was just like draw a picture of your dad's face, I'm like, damn, would I be able to do it like just off of memory? And shit like
Right.
that scares me, bro.
Right.
Like it genuinely, like it legit scares me because it's just like of course you recognize how much these people mean to you
Right.
and how much their legacy lives on through you, but when you don't have that documentation to lean into and whatnot, you just find yourself having those thoughts and like you can't help but be concerned at times. Like you're always going to remember them and whatnot, but it's just like damn, like you find yourself having those thoughts and shit like that, and it's just it can be heavy at times, man. It's just
Right.
like but it just made me think about that because Kevin and I we had that same conversation as well.
Right. Yeah. So that's why now I capture all the vibe, bro. I capture
That's
everything,
it,
man.
bro.
All this like they got my kids, my grandkids got to see their grandfather's bomb.
Yeah. That's it, man.
Oh man,
They got to
and it's
see
dope,
this.
man. I think it's dope having those conversations with that older generation too, is because you never really know like where you fall in the type of things. I know I'm talking to my grandpa one time. He said something that it's hard for me to forget, and he said he was like I was asking him about one of his brothers named Johnny, right? And he was like explaining them, and he was like, man, he was like this, and he used to he'd come in and he was vibe and talk to everybody, and he was like he was kind of like you. You know what I mean? But I had
Yeah,
never, he had passed before I was born.
yeah,
And I was just thinking how dope it would have been if he was like, you was just like, let me show you this video of him.
yeah,
Right.
And it
Right.
would be
yeah,
crazy to have seen like, oh man, damn, that is simple.
Right.
You
yeah,
know what I mean? I can see
Right.
that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, yeah. So, we have the chance to do that now though. You know what I mean? And,
We do, we do.
why not?
That's it. The
Right.
question isn't why, it's why not, man.
Yeah,
All
these
right. I know we almost out of
best at
time.
that. These are best at like just get in the moment and then living in it.
Oh
You
yeah.
know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? He was like,
You
we're
gotta
gonna
do
get
both.
one and then we're gonna and then let's get
yeah.
in. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into it.
Because I'm definitely not one of those. I hate the people who just like live behind the camera. Like
Right.
literally everything is just like, bro. Like if you don't just get out the get stop playing in my face and come and come live a little bit, man. Like I
Right.
think it is important to
Do both.
find that
Right.
balance where you got to
Right.
document shit, but you also got to be present and enjoy yourself.
Absolutely.
And finding that balance is real. Um, but yeah, man, grateful for it
Yeah.
all, man.
Yeah, we almost at that time to wrap it up. Like
Yeah,
any closing remark before we conclude this episode today?
yeah, man. Well, I got a question for y'all, man.
All right.
So, we've been talking about gratitude and heartfelt and, all the feelings and shit like that. So that being said, would you rather receive an unexpected $200 gift or an unexpected heartfelt letter from someone that you care about or that's very close to you? Which one you taking?
At this point in my life, $200 is not really a lot, man. Not to say I'm bored or anything like that. $200 is not really gonna do a lot for me right now. So it's definitely the heartfelt letter because that means
For
that person. Because
Diamond, let's change it to 1,000 because I know you a baller, man.
Nah, still, man. Because I think for me, a heartfelt letter is that person actually took the time. Because you can give anyone $1,000. You get away from me if you have it, right? Get away from me, like. But to take that time and effort to write a heartfelt letter is too much time, thinking, thoughtfulness that all went into that letter. So for me
Yep.
personally, I would take that heartfelt letter for sure, than that $200,000.
It's
But if you
it's not a
talking about
question for me.
100K, you're talking about 100K there.
It's not a question. It's not a question for me. I'm on the same side, man. I haven't written a bunch of letters in my life, but I have got a few letters in my life, and when you get it, man, it does feel different. Especially, I think even going further than that, right? Like it's one thing even we could type a letter up now, but we could use
Right,
AI or whatever like that.
right.
But if they hand wrote something to you,
Oh yeah,
you know what
right,
I'm saying? Like they might have messed up in one part, had to cross it out and
Yep.
keep writing. You know what I
right,
mean?
Yep.
Like I think that is like a heavy thing to do, man. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was something
oh,
I was thinking about why we was on here
right,
though. Something I was thinking about. I was like, how dope would it be is if over the course of a year, every week, you wrote a letter to somebody for a
right,
year. So 52
right,
people at the end of the year and
right,
gave out letters at
right,
the end of the year to 52 closest people.
right,
I feel like that would be dope. At
Yep.
the end, the
right,
52
Fire.
might be like a little, you know what I mean? It
right,
might be just business relationships or whatever, but
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
that would be super, super dope throughout the course of the year. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
right.
Yeah.
And to add on to that real quick, it depends though. If that letter from an ex, give me that $200. Give me that 200 right now. That's that heartfelt letter. Give me that 200. Let's
Uh,
be clear. Give
He
me my
said, "Fuck that
200
bitch."
right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's hilarious.
She's gonna know. Shit,
that's
I don't care
hilarious.
how long it took you. I don't care if you black ink, blue ink, like back in the day. Though I don't care. Give me my 200.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Um,
What?
I'm obviously in the same boat as y'all, man. Money comes and goes,
Right,
man, but I think the moments that you share with people, the sentiments that you share with them are something that will live on forever, man. And just like we said, as far as like
right.
documentation, receiving a heartfelt letter from some, we already know letters are like writing letters is a dying art.
Serious, right?
Like
You're gonna do that.
not many people write letters anymore. Like the last time I wrote a letter was probably
My cover letter. That's the last letter I wrote.
that don't count. That don't count. A cover letter do not count.
I'm saying that's how long. Like that's
Yeah,
the last letter I wrote.
The last time I wrote a letter, it might have been like last year. It might have been like last year. It hasn't been too long,
It's been long
but
for me, bro. It's been long.
but
Yeah, it's
me
been real
too.
long.
I actually like I actually enjoy writing. So
Right,
but in regards to that conversation of like documentation, that's something you can always refer back to at any
right,
given moment. Like imagine
right,
having received a letter from you know such and such friend, like a prime example, right? Cruz, who recently passed, like if I had a letter from him that I could just always go back and reflect on, like, like
right,
that'd be something that is just like, man, like this is like, and it means so much more now, right?
right,
Because like you, regardless of where you're at in life or what's going on, you can always just take a moment and like, you know, like time pauses for
right,
that very brief moment, and it's just like, man, like I'm tapped in with everything that this person was, put into this
right,
message, and it means a lot, man, because of course anybody can shoot a text message and shit like
right,
that, and I'm not saying that like a heartfelt text message isn't gonna go like a long way. I think
right,
it is important to receive those kind of sentiments regardless of what form they come in, but I think to your point, P, you know, you were saying like with a letter, you see, it's just a little bit more intimate, man. Like you got to really put a lot of thought
It
into it,
is. Right.
and you know, like you said, you're crossing out shit. You know, you're
Right.
like you're seeing their handwriting and all that
Right.
stuff. Like it's
Yeah,
just like there's so much that goes into it where it's just like this is. I can tell this was meaningful and this was
Right.
intentional. And I think that carries so much more weight than any $200 gift that you could give me.
Right.
So, um, give me the letter any day, and as well as giving, right? You know, like I'd love to gift, you know, people with letters. I mean, I have before, but it's been a while since I've written a letter for someone.
Hey,
But
I need to step my letter
I,
game
I
up. I
think
don't remember the last time
I
I
think
wrote a
I might,
letter.
you know, this conversation might have sparked something because I might have to get back into my letter writing bag, man, because
that would be
that's
fire,
something that
man.
I
Like
actually
I said,
enjoy.
if you did that over the course of a year and had
Yeah.
52 letters to give out, I'm telling you, I feel
Yeah,
like that would just be really, really dope over the course of a year,
and not
man.
even
You know what I mean? That
just
might be a
giving it
cool
out, like
challenge. That might be a cool challenge that we put in place for all
I'm
of us. It's just like, you know what I mean? A
I'm
weekly
definitely with
letter. It
that.
only got to be 10 minutes
Right.
every Sunday or something like that, but
Right.
just, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That might be dope.
I'm definitely with that. You know, I think what would be cool too is like to do it like now and then gift the letters next year. Like, and because if you give someone like, because to me, receiving something in the mail, there's something about receiving in the mail. Of course, like if someone were to hand me a letter, that's cool too. But I think receiving it in the mail and just like, especially when it's unexpected, it's like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
you know, like damn, I didn't think I was gonna get a letter from this person, you know, kind of
That's
thing.
fire.
So and but if you were to tell somebody, hey, don't open this till Christmas, that you know damn well they finna open that shit right then and there.
Yeah,
They're
they
like,
go.
I ain't finna wait. Like, what the
Like,
hell is this? But so I think maybe sending those out as Christmas gifts would be really dope. You know, like to challenge ourselves to do that for 52 weeks, write one person a letter per week, and just send those out around Christmas time, and just you know,
that's
like, hey,
dope.
just be
That's dope.
yeah. So um,
That's a good challenge for sure. Because I don't remember the last time I read a letter. To be honest.
Yeah,
Like, I don't even know.
yeah,
facts.
I don't even know how my handwriting looks like anymore. Because even nowadays, like I'm so lazy when it comes to writing, bro. I just be trying to like get stuff out on the board. Like I don't take like before I used to take my time and be precise and make it look good. Nowadays, like just want to get out of the way.
yeah. Can y'all write in cursive still?
I can. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
If I
sorry.
same.
wanted to.
Yeah.
But my handwriting is bad enough as is, bro. I think cursive would look like I might as
You're
well
like,
be writing
oh, you
another
know
language.
what?
You know what I'm saying?
You like, give me the $200. Let me
Yeah,
know what he's
my
They're like,
handwriting,
man, P,
my
I didn't know you
handwriting is
spoke. I didn't know you spoke Egyptian, man. Like this is you
hieroglyphics,
speaking hieroglyphs and shit.
man. You know what
What
I'm
the fuck?
saying? Nah, my shit is bad, but you know, I'm sure somebody appreciates it still. You know what I'm
For
Yeah.
sure,
saying?
for sure.
But that being said,
That's a good.
man,
It's a good.
y'all got any other closing sentiments or anything before we wrap up?
Yeah, for sure, man. You know, like young blood. Don't start no shit. Don't be no shit. Don't go around looking for problems. You know, reflect on your life. Look for things that are good in your life, and just look for little things each day to be grateful for. You don't have to have everything figured out to have an attitude of gratitude. Just look around you, man. The fact that you're here, if you're watching it, you're healthy, you're alive. That's something to be grateful for. I know, life can be hard sometimes. We all have our own battles and things that we're struggling with, but one day at a time, just be grateful today. Just look for things to be grateful for.
Yep.
And yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yep. Yep. And the only thing I'm gonna add to that is, man, you know, we all have a person in our mind that we think about that we're more grateful for than we actually tell them. And I'm gonna just push that on everybody on here, man. If you got that person, highlight them, man. It's the time of the holiday. Sometimes it's easy, you could do it in person, but even if not, man, shoot that call out, shoot that, even if it's a text, man, that even
Hmm.
if it's a letter, man, if that person that, you know, that you're more grateful for than you
All right.
tell them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's the season for that, man.
Yep.
Yeah, and also big shout out to everyone who joined the live today, guys. Thank you guys for the continuous support every week. We love it and appreciate you guys. We're grateful for you guys as well. Just want
That's
to let
it.
y'all
Yes,
know.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, for me, man, my closing remarks are kind of what y'all talked about, man. It's just around this time of year we talk about it, man. This is my favorite time of the year for many reasons, but specifically Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because in a lot of ways it's very synonymous with Christmas just as far as what you're celebrating, right? You're getting the opportunity to just celebrate being around good company,
Yes.
enjoying good things like a good meal, um, laughter, all that stuff. but it's not all so commercialized, right? I think that's the thing about Christmas that I don't like is that it's
Right.
just so commercialized.
Right.
But with Thanksgiving, man, you're just giving thanks for like everything and everyone in your life. And so that being said, I encourage everyone to just go out of your way to practice a little bit of gratitude this week. Reach out to someone, whether that's a text message, whether it's a phone call, write a letter if you want to, you want to keep it old school. But I just encourage everybody to practice a little bit of gratitude, or a little extra gratitude, I should say.
Right.
Um, because it goes a long way. And just spreading love, man, it's necessary, especially around
Right.
this time of year. So grateful for everybody. I also want to say I'm grateful for you fellas. It's not often that you come around good people, good friends like yourself. So I'm grateful for y'all. But yeah, just go and tell somebody you love them, man. It's as simple as that.
For sure.
What did my close? What did Marco say? On some
Right.
real talk, you guys
That
mean.
mean a whole lot to
That's
me,
what
fellas.
I mean. A whole
Yeah,
lot to
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Shout out to you, Marco.
Likewise,
You know the
bro.
sentiment's the
Likewise,
same. You know
bro.
it's the same, brother.
Yeah,
You know it's the same, man.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
it,
Shout out to
man.
Marco.
Shout out to
Shout out
Marco
to
one time, man.
Marco. Always
Nah,
supporting,
shout
man.
out to you fellas too. Like I said, man, y'all inspire me every week. I'm like I said, you don't know where things like sit in your life, kind of, because it's just you're doing things in real time.
Right.
If this podcast never made $100 million, of course I wanted to, but if it
Right.
didn't,
Right.
just having these conversations every week, man, that
Right.
shit is worth it.
It's
You know what I
worth it,
mean?
man.
That shit is worth it, man. So, for sure.
That's it.
Absolutely. For sure. All right, fam.
All
All
right,
Talk
right,
to
y'all.
y'all
y'all.
later.
Have a
Salute
easy.
to everybody.
All right.